Hello, and welcome to Regular Veteran. My name's Scott. Today, I'm bringing you the news. A lot has been going on in veteran legislation, so I gotta catch you up. I'm gonna talk about how the VA skipped their oversight committee meeting with Congress. I'm also gonna tell you about the 9 different bills the House just passed. So there's, big changes coming in veteran legislation. I'm also gonna talk about veteransuicidetracker.com, as well as Travis, Jackson and Sailor Jerri. It's so crazy to me that the VA director just was like, nah, I ain't going to that meeting. I don't agree with that meeting. Thanks, Congress, but no. How do you just don't go? But it's Congress. Anyways, the VA secretary did not show up or even send a representative to a meeting with Congress just last week. And Congress, Mr. Takano was pissed, but so check this clip out.
However, I also must note that we have an empty chair at the witness table. The Department of Veterans Affairs decided not to show up for the hearing today. This is unacceptable. By not appearing today, the VA Secretary is ignoring an opportunity to show that the department cares about addressing the serious concerns GAO and the IG have identified. The Veterans Health Administration and VA contracting are both at high risk, according to the Government Accountability Office. The Comptroller General is here to testify about needed action by the department. We need to hear from VA leadership about their plan to be removed from the department, to be removed from the department's from the high-risk list.
The links below, you can see the entire thing. It's like an hour and a half long. Yeah, so they just didn't show. That I feel like somebody should lose a job if you don't show up to a meeting with Congress, but I guess you just do whatever you want if you're the VA. So, what else? Before I even go over these, the link is below. Follow along if you'd like. It's right there so you can see the headline. You can click on all the bills if you'd like. But the first one is 2359, the whole veteran bill. The second one is 1812, the Veteran Center eligibility expansion. The next one is the HR 1947, which is to amend Title 38. The one after the title amendment is 2326, Navy SEAL Chief Petty Officer William Bill Mulder, Transition Improvement Act of 2019. There's HR 2333, which is support for suicide prevention coordinators. There's HR 2340, which is Fight Veteran Suicide Act. There's HR 1200, which is the Veterans Compensation Cost of Living Adjustment Act of 2019. Then there's HR 2372, which is the Veterans Care Quality Transparency Act. And then there's HR 2045, which is the Veterans Education Transition and Opportunity Prioritization Plan Act of 2019. All that to say, veterans are a priority right now. That sounds like 5 different bills trying to mitigate veteran suicide. I agree 1000% that we should be doing that. I hope one of those bills is the answer. I don't think that you can necessarily legislate away veteran suicide, but I'm glad that it is something that is on the forefront of all representatives' minds. I definitely couldn't say more about the power of, choosing who you think has the best, veteran platform. Maybe you don't even care about any of the other shit that they're, talking about. Maybe you just want to know, how are they going to take care of their veterans? Just ask the, those representatives that are coming up for election in the next 2 years, and let's see what kind of change that we can create in the VA. All right, so If you go to veteransuicidetracker.com, you can put in a veteran who took their life. You can put in a few different pieces of information, and we can really start to get a real-time analysis of veteran suicide. I hate to be a part of it, but somebody has to start tracking it in real time. We can't be dependent on the Veteran Affairs to give us veteran affair information. It doesn't matter what year, it doesn't matter what age, what branch, their discharge doesn't matter. If they served, I'm super interested. Please add them to the form, add them to the database. You can see it below. Their name will propagate on there, and we'll be able to keep track. If we keep track of all of the ones that we know of, if you see a headline and you add it in there, great. It's my way of trying to help Congress. Congress is gonna assign a committee, they're gonna assign 15 different people, and those people are gonna scour all sorts of different news sources. They're gonna do their thing. And this is the best way I know to do my thing. If I could stop veteran suicide, I would. And if I could give that information to someone, I will. But I have to collect it, and to collect it, I can't do that all by myself. It's gotta be crowdsourced. It's gotta be someone in Montana that knows Sergeant First Class Joseph whatever that committed suicide at his house, not at the VA. Maybe he wasn't even seeing the VA for coverage. Maybe he wasn't asking for help. Those people aren't even being tracked, and yet we have a number as solid as 20 to 22, between 6,000 and 8,000. We shouldn't be so confident in such a large number of suicide. A lot of times it's simply giving someone the feeling that they're doing something worthwhile. You've got to have a purpose in life. You've got to feel drive. There's got to be something larger than yourself that you're helping. For me, this is a way to bring purpose to those people that have felt that they had none. Also, the House launched a task force specifically to try and capture and understand what it's like to be a female veteran in America. So that's really cool, and they want to try and figure out how they get them the most, specific benefits they can. That's great. I'm very excited for that. A veteran that I'd love to just give as much praise and attention as I can is Travis Jackson. He's a veteran in Alabama, and he's being there every Friday to show support and shelter women who are trying to exercise their reproductive rights.
We have the umbrellas out, and we tell them words of encouragement, to let them know that we're here for them and that it is their constitutional rights.
So, Travis, good job. Way to come home and find a greater purpose for peace and give love to someone's life. Sailor Jerri.
Pushing through, but the battle lives inside of you. It's a cold and it's a broken hallelujah.
I just love that there's a veteran named Sailor Jerri that is making country music, and it's beautiful. Way to go, Sailor Jerri. The link is below. Can I find a Spotify? I'll put a link to her Spotify below. If you don't use Spotify, you're just gonna have to find her yourself. But I'm sure she's got a YouTube channel or a YouTube video, and if she does, then I'll put it right below. Enough talking to my camera. If you watched this whole thing, thank you. My name's Scott. You're watching Regular Veteran. I'll see you on the internet. Thanks for watching. Ho ho! Okay, so. What else? This is a breakdown of all those bills that just the name was too complex to actually understand what it does. So 2359 is Congress asking the VA if veterans have access to a whole list of things. The list has massage, acupuncture, Tai Chi, yoga, whole health clinic, And I'm excited because I don't think that that is something that's standard, but maybe that's something that'll be, you know, becoming standard. HR 1812 gives Coast Guardsmen access to VA benefits if they were in some drug interdiction operation. It also requests a report on veterans living too far from vet center services. I don't exactly know what a vet center service center is. I've never been to one, but it seemed to be almost like an unemployment office for veterans. Maybe that's something that's supposed to be more far-reaching and I've never heard of. HR 1947 changes, you know, access and payments for pilot programs, pilot schools here in the United States, and the wording was a little weird, so if that's something that affects you, you know, check into it. They did say if you're already in school, it doesn't affect you. It's definitely not going to negatively affect you, but there are changes to that program if you're trying to get your pilot's license. 1947 also allows changes to headstones, you know, if your dependent is going to be buried with you. So it allows that. So that's really cool. 2326, this one was a lot. This one has pretty much 5 different things. They need, you know, access for the Secretary of Labor and the Secretary of the VA to a federal directory of new hires in the United States. The second thing was TAPS, is they're gonna do a pilot program off base rather than have TAPS on base. The third was separation grants for specific training. Maybe you need interview training, maybe you need a little bit more extensive resume building training. This would give you a grant to do that off base. There's a $10 million budget set aside to do this, you know, TAPS pilot program, and also to get a study done of TAPS and its actual effect. What's TAPS doing for our troops? Is it helping? Is it doing nothing? Are you more successful if you don't go to TAPS? So TAPS is really being looked at in this one, so that I thought was great. I got 5 more. What are they here? HR 2333 is an assessment and report to Congress on the health and welfare and life of suicide prevention coordinators. The 6th bill, HR 2340, directs the VA Secretary to report any suicide or attempted suicide in a VA hospital within 7 days. I think that's phenomenal. Good luck, he doesn't even show up to freaking meetings. HR 1200 increases rates of compensation for service-connected disabilities. That one's huge, but it's limited. So if that is something that affects you, look at HR 1200 and that one's gonna be for you. HR 2372 directs the Comptroller General to assess all memorandas between the Undersecretary of Health and non-VA entities regarding suicide prevention. So it's just, what is the Secretary of Health doing for suicide prevention for veterans? And then the last one is HR 2045 is the last one, and it's huge. I mean, it's not as large as TAPS pilot program, but it's $3 million appropriated, and it's establishing a Veterans Economic Opportunity and Transition Administration, as well as a secretary of said administration. So I don't really understand entirely, because it's creating a position when it really is the VA secretary. The VA secretary is pretty much doing the job of this new position, but it's actually creating a whole administration that deals with home loans and deals with, you know, all the things that you think of that the VA already does. So I don't understand why it's there, but we're creating another position in the VA. So maybe, you know, that's a good thing. I don't know. Let me know what you think of all these bills. I'm super interested. These are some really big things for veterans. I want to know what you think. Do you think these bills are going to help? What could Congress be doing better?